Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. You get a lot of time to think when you work on the homestead and you're doing easy tasks. And I got to thinking today, are we really free if most Americans, and I'll say most people, have to rely on everything it takes to sustain themselves? Let's talk about shelter. You either rent or you go out and buy a house and get a 30-year mortgage. Not many people actually build their own house. So you are relying on other people. I think water, how many people actually have a well? How many people have actually dug their own well? I know of a couple people. And all these things are just the main things that we need to sustain ourselves, to stay alive. We all flush our toilets. Most people waste, they go to waste treatment centers. If you live in the country, you have a septic, and then you're responsible for that. You're responsible to make sure it doesn't get clogged up, doesn't overflow, and you don't flush hard chemicals down there to kill the good microorganisms that tear and break down your waste products. I think electricity is a big thing. We rely on the power lines that come into our house. Am I overthinking this? But all of these things, we have to rely on other people. We don't put our sustainability or keeping us alive in our own hands. We put it in someone else's hands, and that goes down to protection. It's sheriff's department or police department that people rely on. Nowadays, you better rely on yourself for the first line of defense. If not, you're going to get mugged, killed, raped, robbed. And then medical. Medical is probably a big one because we need to be eating healthier. I got my hand up. We need to be exercising more. I got my hand up. We need to be taking care of ourselves better. But we don't. And we also rely heavily on doctors, on hospitals. A lot of people rely way too much on medicine. I am not on any, my son's not, my daughter, we're not on anything that has to sustain us. If you are, you definitely have to rely on that. I urge you, and I'm not a doctor or a medical expert, I urge you looking at alternative ways. I think a lot of people start taking a medicine and another medicine, and all of a sudden they have a problem, so they get another medicine, and then you got all these medicines working against each other. It's not healthy. So look at alternative ways. Research what's wrong with you. Maybe you can find some way to solve your problem. A lot of it probably could be solved with a lot of people, not all people, with just good exercise, getting healthier. So, does freedom, is it connected with you physically doing things that sustain yourself? I know getting solar, and I still have lots to do on the solar side, but I have some. It does make me feel more independent. It makes me feel freer. So can you, with your hands, do things to make you feel more independent? And I will use the word free. Free from having to sustain your life. You have a family that between all of you and your family, you could become more sustainable, or your tribe, or your community. I think we've gotten away from relying on ourselves and our neighbors and our friends. I think the smartphone and Facebook and all that other junk is killing us. It's driving us into depression. I read an article, more people are depressed than ever. And I think it goes back to not having the satisfaction of taking care of ourselves. You might work a job and you go and you get some money, and then with that check, you don't have to do anything. I mean, you pay for everything. You send the electric bill, the water bill, the rent, you buy food, and I think it's leading to an environment that will create depression. Going into an office and doing something on a computer all day and that controlling your life, were we designed to do that? Yeah, as I said, as you do tasks around the homestead, you have a lot of time to think, to ponder. Another thought I had during this whole time, I was thinking, does the flag that we fly represent me anymore? I look at what that flag stands for, and especially the current administration. It stands for a lot of things that I don't stand for. I think the United States has gotten too big. It's spread out. I'm not saying dissolve the United States, but I probably take about 90% of the power that the United States has and put it back in the local community. Put it into my area. Let me and my neighbors control my destiny. Not the federal government that can pass a bill, or if they're a government agency, they can say, oh, we decided that's illegal now. We said it was legal, but now it's illegal. I mean, the federal government does not represent me on spending money at a rate that we don't have. I'm a conservative person. I like to save. And I find it heart-wrenching that you can take hard-earned money and say, you know, I'm going to save this $1,000. I just want to save it. I want to save it for a rainy day. Let me put it in the closet. Let me put it in the gun safe. Let me put it here or there. But in 2 or 3 or 4 years, the value has just totally collapsed because of inflation. I find that criminal that our government cannot even sustain their currency to have the same value. And that's because they've taken us off the gold and silver standard. They have printed money. They're spending money. It made me sick to see that we had some Patriot missiles, and I think they shot 30 missiles in just a very, very quick time. And they were valued at $5 million a piece. That's $150 million of my money, your money, that was wasted. And then the Patriot missile system was taken out. I think I read that that's $1 billion. Don't quote me on that. That doesn't represent me. Wise use of my tax money. So you get a lot of time to think when you're pulling weeds or watering pigs. I think the United States is too big. I think the United States will no longer represent the individual freedoms. It definitely doesn't stand for the moral ideas that I follow that are dictated to me through the Bible. Man is a man, a woman's a woman. Life is precious. Life is sacred. So the more and more, I think, to be truly free, we as Americans have to take more responsibility for our everyday life. A lot of people are lazy. They say, government can do that. The state can do it. My city can do it. They can come pick my trash up. Now, there's nothing wrong with someone picking your trash up. But I think we need to get back to an idea where you work with your hands. You do what you need to do. Do the things that sustain your life. I think a lot of people will be less depressed. And it is a real growing thing. And I think as AI comes out further, technology develops, it's going to have to come to a point where we just push that stuff aside and say, you know what? I'm going to live my life on my local level. I'm going to have to be nice to my neighbors. I'm going to have to be nice to people in my community because my life depends on it. So, am I crazy today? But I think to really have true freedom, we need to get back to doing a a lot of stuff yourself with your own hands, with your own family, with your own tribe, and become more sustainable. And I think that will actually help a lot of people. Instead of going to that factory and pushing that machine every time a part comes down, I don't think we were designed to do that. I think we're designed to put our hands in the dirt and get dirty, grow some food, sustain ourselves. Thanks for watching.